One, two, three. Another uncut entry. And yeah, as always, need to check my notes, see what I've done this past week. This week I met up with some good mates, talked about Pioneers of Greatness and how I should just, launch the Shopify page, the website, and just have the product out there ready to be ordered. So that's what I did. I set up the Shopify. I sorted out the domain and all of that shit, and then pretty much launched it within a day of meeting up my mates. And that was pretty much what I've been doing this past week. Getting that website ready, having all the images up and running, product description, sizes, the sizing chart. But yeah, it's all there, it's all ready for 2026. I mean, it's up and running. People can order shit. People can order the forged denim jacket, but I won't start the whole kind of production made to order until early or first week of January 2026, because obviously right now it's like the holidays and all that shit, so it's somewhat busy. Yeah, and this week meeting up with my mates, they did bring a good point of like, why wait? Because originally I was going to launch the website like end of January to then allow people to recuperate from their Christmas spendings and whatnot. But then they did make a good point about how everyone's going to be on their phones during the holidays. So I was like, you know what, that's true. Let me just fucking do it. I did it, and then now it's up and running. And yeah, why wait until 2026 to ship or get the website rolling? And plus, if I did do that, people are going to be back to work and they won't be on their phones as much. So it's a good time to get that out there, because everyone's out of the office, all back at home, and they're on their day off. So there should be more traffic in theory. Yeah, these notes that I made, yes, they're a bit, I didn't complete them, so I just need to think what I did. Yeah, pretty much just focused on that. So I did up the sizing charts, and right now I'm just winging it. Like I said, in one of the previous uncut entries, I think I said something along the lines of like, you'll never be ready, so you might as well just start. So me pushing out the forged denim jacket, although it's not like fully concrete in terms of having the sizing all done up and ready, like I still need to, although I have like the dimensions of like the width and the length up on the website, I still need to figure out applying that into grading the pattern. And the pattern I currently have is size small, so those are the things that I have to yet to solve. But that's cool, because For the forged denim jacket, I've given myself like a 2-week window. So if you were to order it, you would have to there's a 2-week period, like a waiting window for me to, produce or make the denim jacket and then have it fulfilled and shipped. And during that 2-week window is where I, figure things out. But obviously before then, I'll before my first order, I'll get that sorted. But that's just the thing, it's better to just do it and figure it out later, put it out there and figure out the how you're going to do things as you go along, because like I wanted to prolong it by launching it on the 31st of Jan 2026 so that I can figure out the sizing and this and that. But then if I just put it out there now, then now there's more pressure for me to get it done, because if once I hit that first sale, then I have to sort out the grading, I have to figure it out. So I guess having that pressure, that deadline, it works on my favor. But yeah, no, that was a good tip from my mates, because instead of just prolonging it, man, just get it done. Like, done is better than perfect, so get it out there ASAP. And I think that will be like the mood for 2026. It's to get it out as fast as I can, everything. All the products I'm going to be working on for PoG in 2026, there will be a shortened time frame from concept to delivery, and I have to fulfill that, What else is there to be spoken about? And yeah, no, even with this, there are issues, not issues, but like things that bother me. If a person bought this, they won't be able to pinpoint the issues, because I'm the one who designed it, so I know where the issues are. Because when I got my mate to try this denim jacket on, wear it, he was like, "Oh, the only thing he pinpointed was the lining, or not the lining, the finishing on the inside. So they're all raw at the moment. Obviously, when I ship, they're all gonna be like felled seams, just like this here. Say like more clean, professional finish. But that's the only thing he pointed out. Anything else, he was fine. And see, people don't notice your mistakes because they weren't the one that made the product, the thing. And that's just me being a perfectionist. But it doesn't mean that the product that I'm pushing out is not of quality. Of course it is of quality, because I spent half the year of 2025 getting my skill set up, working at a independent fashion studio, to get my sewing skills up. And that's why I was able to, arrive to this at the end of 2025 and be able to ship it in beginning of 2026. But yeah, no, the good thing about this is I'm sourcing everything, from the denim, going into the local sort of wholesalers of textiles and fabrics here in London, and the hardware. So the snap buttons, I'm sourcing that myself. And then obviously the brand labels that I'll be attaching onto this, I'll have to source for myself as well. And then there's also other details that I'm going to be adding. And what I'm trying to say is I'm sourcing everything locally, you know, and they're all going to be coming from different areas of, London. And I think that's what will make it sort of unique in that aspect, where if I were to get this made, you know, overseas using a manufacturer, then they'll be pulling everything from, the same source or same area. But at this very beginning of the brand, it's going to be me sourcing everything, making everything. And I think that makes these early releases very special, because it's going to be made by me, the founder, the designer, owner of the brand, And imagine you copying, let's say, what's a dope brand out there that everyone knows. Okay, for example's sake, let's say Louis Vuitton, or a Dior, or a Balenciaga. Imagine the very first things that you cop from them, it's actually made by the actual designer. You know, like, how dope is that? So I'm at that stage now, where I am the one making this, and you could reach me, like, you could leave a comment on the PoG social medias, or even my personal brand, and have that direct connection with the actual designer, the founder of the brand, and build that relationship at that very early stage. But you can't do that with brands that have blown up, So at this very stage, I'm very close to the brand, and I'm very accessible. But there will be a point where I'm going to be at a distance. I'd still like to be able to, at one when everything, sort of goes my way and things are moving successfully. I would still like to be close to the brand, where I'm very hands on with, like, the designing and whatnot. But let's say, and like prototyping, all of that. But then when it comes to, making the thing, I would outsource that to people that are more have decades experience, and are, way better than me, at making the thing. But I'd still like to have that hands on when developing the products, up until, prototyping. And yeah, I think that's where I would position myself in the future, once everything is, up and running, and we have a consistent community buying into the brand, supporting the brand. Because the thing with me is, I've always wanted to build a business where I'm hands on with it, I'm not the type to, build a business, and then after a couple of years I step away from it, and then, sell it. Like, I'd like this to be a thing where I grow with it, and build on with it, like, grow it and build it whilst being in there, Yeah, because for me, the career that I envision is something where I live and breathe it, to the point where it's not, I don't even see it as a career. It's just like my lifestyle. And that's what I'm sort of trying to build at this very moment, having the part-time bar job, and having this as my full-time thing, and documenting the whole journey, keeping it as real as possible. Like this, like, I don't do no retakes. Like, I put the camera down, I hit record, I talk about the what happened in the week, and then perhaps what I'm going to be doing the following week, you know. But other than that, this isn't content. This is just me documenting, you know. This is a diary, essentially, a video diary of building pioneers of greatness and building my personal brand, my fitness, and all that shit. But yeah, I'm excited. This year has this year it has led up to this, you know. The forged denim jacket is basically the highlight of this year. From me in the beginning of 2025, shadowing and, you know, working once a week at independent fashion studio, doing that for half of the year, to then pivoting into doing and focusing on pioneers of greatness, prototyping, sampling, and then, you know, producing the forged denim jacket for the next half of the year. And although that's spending half a year on one product, like for me, that's quite long. That's why in 2026, I'm going to compress that into, yeah, compress it into either 2 months or, you know, around that mark, when designing and then sampling a product and then, oh, releasing it. So that's what I will be focusing on in 2026. And then that will then, you know, all those products that I'll be shipping in 2026, that will build the design language and the foundation of pioneers of greatness. And this is the forged denim jacket is a very strong foundation to start on. And basically, I'll be able to communicate my vision for the actual brand, because this brand is not, it's not no streetwear or anything like that. It's human wear, and I've been coining that term ever since I started my very first brand, Galanachi. And human wear is just the next evolution for streetwear, where the the clothing is more philosophical. So the ideas that embodies, or the products that I make and design, they all embody a certain philosophy, and you wear it if you align with this philosophy, or you find it inspiring in some sort. But I think I'll break this down in another video, because it's been a while since I talked about human wear. Instead of talking, I sort of just started doing, you know. But I do need to talk about it a little bit more, so that people are aware that Pioneers of Greatness is not just a streetwear brand. Oh, it's not a streetwear brand. I don't see it as a streetwear brand. Especially me starting off with a denim jacket, definitely not a streetwear brand. Positioning it more of a fashion brand rooted in the sport of boxing, the philosophy of a fighter. So not oh, how do you say it? Not, man, I can't find the words. Like, it's not a boxing brand, but it borrows the philosophies of a fighter and transmute that into, you know, clothing. Or, well, at least that's what I'm trying to do. It's essentially, I'm essentially building the Lacoste or the Ralph Lauren for boxing. You know, you have Lacoste, where the core of it is the tennis, the sport of tennis, you know, the lifestyle. And then also Ralph Lauren, Polo, But for Pioneers of Greatness, the core of it will be boxing, not necessarily, designing sportswear for tailored to boxing, but bringing the ideas, the philosophy behind a fighter, and yeah, translating in that into clothing. But yeah, it's something that I'm slowly working towards, especially with this forged denim jacket. That's the start. And I called it forged because, man, I had to literally forge this into existence. And there was a lot of prototyping, a lot of figuring out, and even a lot of hammering, because with denim you're supposed to get a mallet and actually pretty much flatten the seams, because it's hard to sew it because of how thick denim is. So you'd use a mallet to actually flatten the seams so that you can actually sew it together. And that pretty much mimics, forging metal, forging, the whole term to forge something into existence. That's why I called it the forged denim jacket. And then also there's ideas of boxing intertwined into that, where denim, the fabric itself, is a working class. It has working class origins, where in America, like Levi's, these these denim jackets, jeans, they were used as a workwear in the mines and whatnot, because they were durable. And for me, boxing is accessible, and a lot of them were working class people. In the early days of boxing, it was the working class people that picked up boxing, and a handful of them were in the mines and all of that, and most likely wearing denim, And I like that parallel of that. That's why I decided, yeah, forged denim jacket would be a perfect product garment piece to start off with when launching Pioneers of Greatness. But yeah, there's more to it that I could, dig into. But I think it's better to just let the people, use their imagination when it comes to this. Like, that's what I'll try to do more of. Like, I'll try not to talk about the concepts and stuff like that, but just allow the people to, use their imagination when it comes to learning more about the brand Pioneers of Greatness. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this part, or this week. Yeah, man, I'm out. Peace.